There you go. I'll be sharing my screen so that you may understand what I'll be talking. Okay. Share screen. Okay, there you go. So may I see your thumbs up if you can see my presentation for this afternoon? No thumbs up? Okay. So what we'll be talking this afternoon is about the things to consider in teaching literature. Okay, or the things we need to consider or you need to consider later on if you're going to present the topic or the story that you'll be presenting. Okay, so please take note, okay, and write the details that I will be sharing. Okay, so hello. So what to expect when presenting? Of course, your teachers in English during your grade grade 7 to 10 were able already to share to you how to present. But this is what I do personally as your teacher in my English subjects, especially when it comes to literature. So these are just suggestions. If you can't provide all the things that I will be sharing this afternoon, it's okay for me as long as some will be presented, okay, or will be given. So the first to consider is your motivation. So it's very important that when you are presenting, you should not go straight, okay, to your topic. That's why we have this what we call motivation. Okay, so what's in motivation? So number one, you can have a background or introduction or background check. Okay, like for example, the place. Okay, it can be specific or the whole nation. Like for example, if your story is based here in Luzon, specifically in Alicia. Okay, so you can present something or some things about Alicia. But if you want the whole nation or the whole Philippines or the whole province, you can have it. What's in after Alicia? So what's in Isabela? After Isabela, what's in Region 2? After Region 2, what's in Northern Luzon? Or Northern Luzon, what's in Philippines? Okay? So you can have it locally, province-wide, or geographically, or the whole nation as a Philippines when you present. Okay, so you can just have one thing there. Okay, you should not present all the whole thing. Okay, because it will really take all the time when presenting. So at least one from it. Okay, that's the first point to consider when you present. Second one is the language or dialect. So since we are talking about world literature, so it is expected that you're not just going to present the country or the place of that particular piece of literature or the background of that piece of literature. So you can also inject language or the dialect that they are using. Of course, we expect that all the stories were translated in English. But of course, for the sake of background checking, you should also include the language or dialect to make it as appealing as possible. Like Chinese, if it's from China, Japanese from Japan, Korean from Korea, English, if US or in Britain, England, or Filipino here in the Philippines. Okay, you should inject. Actually, I will be making the first story in the 21st century literature. So I will be presenting it later on because I'll be doing the video presentation. Okay. The third one to consider is unlocking vocabulary. So of course, in a certain literature, like this, the stories that I have assigned you to do, there are unfamiliar words that you will be encountering there, like your first time really to encounter. So what are you going to do? So you should spot, okay, you cannot really spot the unfamiliar words or vocabulary when you will not read the whole story. That's why I am requesting you to read the whole story first so that you can spot the unfamiliar words there. Okay, so, and of course, read it by heart. Okay, it's not only means that you're going to read it na scheming, something like that. You read and read and read. No, so you should read it by heart so that you may also understand the flow of the story. Okay, one more thing about the language or dialect. You can utilize the internet for proper pronunciation. Okay, so you're very lucky this days because we have the internet. Okay, the internet has the ability to teach you how to speak languages. Okay, in order for you to enunciate it, like you produce the proper pronunciation of the dialect that you'll be using later on. Okay, so that's a thing to consider in language or dialect. So of course, after spotting or looking for unfamiliar words, so you need also to share to us later on the meaning. So you can utilize or you can use the Merriam Dictionary or the Webster Dictionary or the internet. It depends on what references will you use. Okay. And number 4 to consider is unfamiliar or familiar games. So I believe that even though we are utilizing the internet or the this what we call virtual classroom, so you can also introduce unfamiliar, those that we don't know yet, or familiar games. I believe that in your different classes, not just in literature or English subjects, they have these games, right? So what's the purpose of games? So these games are used to engage the students or to motivate the students in order for them to participate, because that's very important. Before anything else, you would want to compose not just yourself, but also building the confidence to your students so that they will be participating to your presentation later on. So maybe these are common games already to you, like the 4 picks 1 word. So you're going to flash like pictures, then they will be. So what is the unifying word for that? 4 picks. Okay, so I'll be presenting to you later on in my video presentation an example of 4 picks 1 word. How about guess who? Okay, like for example, you are presenting about Asia, okay, or yes, Philippines, for example. You are you're asked or tasked to share about what's in the Philippines. So maybe you can flash the picture of Duterte, okay, Pacquiao, who else? Rabia Mateo, something like that. So they are already the prominent figures when it comes to Philippines or Filipino. What else? In singing, maybe we have Lea Salonga, or in sports, Manny Pacquiao. But overall, you can also inject IFL or Jesus Christ, okay? Because that is one of our, what do you call that? Advantage. Okay, using literature to proclaim the gospel. Or guess what? Like for example, you want them to guess who wrote this story. Okay, like Like, what are the stories that we know? Dead Stars. Oh, who wrote Dead Stars? Okay, it's Paz Marquez Benitez, something like that. So you can have those games, okay, to engage your classmates later on when presenting. Okay, like this, jumbled words. Anyone who can answer that jumbled word we have here on my screen? Who can answer? You can open your mic.
Richard.
Ay, wow. Who told that?
Sir Shane.
Chang. Sino? Ay,
Sir,
okay, okay.
Makato po.
Okay, Shane. Okay. Thank you. So you got it right. So something like that. So in that way, you have already engaged your students to participate, right? Thumbs up for it. You have your thumbs up for it. Okay. Okay, the number 5 to consider, author's background. So it's very important that you need also to present the background of the author. Why? It is to understand a certain story or a piece of literature. You also need to know who wrote it or the author. So what are the things to consider when presenting the author's background? You could have the unique characteristics. It's not only one really, but unique characteristics and the accomplishments or some of his or her biography. So your references, you can have it via internet or Google or our reference textbook. Okay, that's it. The author background. In order for us to have at least to check the credibility of the author. Why is it that we're going to study his writing or his story? So it is because he has something to say to us. Okay. Then after all those stuff, so those are only for motivations, huh? Okay, I'll repeat the background check, the place, the language, dialect, unlocking vocabulary, then 4 picks 1 word, jumble words, and author's background. So after presenting those, okay, this is very important. Okay, you should also present the title. Okay, before anything else like that, before the motivational part or motivation part, you should also flash the title. So that's very important. Then after the title, the characters. Okay, so who are the characters in the story? So have at least 3 to 5 or even 6. Then write their function, okay, or the role in that particular story. Like for example, Richard Kakayan or Richard, an English teacher. Nico Kabahar, a NELAC student, or a senior high school student, something like
Cute.
that. Okay, cute daw. A cute senior high school student. Okay. Pagbigyan. So after the characters, you need now to present the content. So what are expected in the content? It is structure, the plot, or the meat. Okay, after presenting the motivation, like for example, you have this burger, right? So that burger will never taste that yummy or that good without the content of it, right? Or the meat part or something in between. So if you're just going to taste the bun or the bread alone, so it doesn't really taste good, right? But if you place something in between, so that's already the yummiest part. Okay, so that's the content. So what to expect in the content? Okay, this is an example of guess me. Who can answer that? What's this? I think I have presented you already this. Nico, what's this? What's in on my screen? Have any guests?
More.
Yin and yang.
Okay,
Sarap.
yin and yang. Okay, that's correct.
Yeah.
How about this?
Mhm.
You know it already. Si Besh.
Sawa. Dragon, sir.
Dragon. How about this? It's a cross, it's a rose, then bamboo. Okay. So in the content, we should follow, or yes, we should follow the Freytag pyramid or diagram. So we need to have first the exposition. Or what do you mean when I say exposition? So we, in the introductory part of the story, so the character was given the chance, okay? You secure the background, okay? The background of the characters. Where, when they are, during the time, what they are doing, okay, something like that. And then in the rising action, okay, you have known already that in a rising action, so we are now developing the conflict, okay? So the battle or the argument between the protagonist and antagonist. Then the climax, of course, you know it already, it's the highest peak. Then falling action, the problem will be resolved. Then the denouement, it could be the concluding statement. Okay, let's have this as an example. Okay, in the Dead Stars, I have presented that already. So that's the background of the author. Okay, here in the exposition. Okay, Carmen asked Don Julian about Alfredo. Okay, then rising action. He had moved to the residence. He was meeting with Julia Salas. He called her. Okay. Then he discovered that despite his involvement with Esperanza, he was unhappy with Julia. Then for the climax, Alfredo picked up with Julia after the procession for the Daughter of Sorrows. It was when Julia discovered the wedding of Alfredo, so he congratulated him. Then following action, Julia did not want his knowledge of Esperanza to be honored by Alfredo. She said farewell. Okay, and then the denouement, Alfredo was engaged to Esperanza. Okay, I think it's a bit of heartbroken, being heartbroken. If you read the Dead Stars, so as if their relationship came to a dead end. Okay, because the other one, there are really moments in our lives that we think already that she or he is already the one, right? Okay, that's also what happened in the story. Okay, so what to expect in the ending? So that's the content. Content. You need to have the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and the denouement. Okay, always remember that you when you are presenting as if you are narrating, okay? So don't use I as if you are narrating or narration. Okay, don't use I. Don't involve yourself there. If it's the character like Lina got up, then at the preceding sentence or the following sentence, it should be he or she. Okay, so you use the second person point of view. Okay, how about the point of view? So how was the story narrated? Like if the author uses he or she, so you can have it, of course, second person point of view. But if the author uses I, first person point of view. Okay, and if the author knows everything about the story, it's all about omniscient. Okay, the first person omniscient. You should know that. Next to present after the point of view, we have also the theme. Okay, what is the theme of the story? So you have known that already, the theme. Okay, it could never be the title or the main idea, but the theme. Like love conquers all, something like that. It's not only one word, okay, the theme. The conflict, okay, conflict, okay, man versus man versus himself, man versus nature. Okay, so you need to discover that while reading the whole story. Then the comprehension checked. Okay, there are also things to consider after the presentation. You need to check their knowledge, okay, how much they understood the story you have shared. Okay, that's the comprehension check. Or you should also ask somebody or someone from this virtual classroom to ask questions from you. Of course, if you are really ready and you have read and did your part, you can answer our questions later on. Then for self-reflection, what are the things that you have learned from that particular story? Okay, and then the IFL. So this is very important, the IFL, which is the integration of faith and learning. So if you can, you you should you would want or you should provide at least a story from the Bible or a text from the Bible, a verse from the Bible that is connected to your story. Okay, so that's the IFL part. As if you are now connecting the story to a particular story in the Bible, wherein they are really connected and have significant relationship. Okay, so that's the ending part. The point of view, the theme, the conflict, comprehension check, self-reflection, and IFL. Okay, like this. This is self-reflection. So in the story, Alfredo struggles against society because, especially during the time of the story, he was afraid of the reaction of people around him. So that's self-reflection. This is a bit of the background. Deadlight symbolizes current but hidden stuff. Okay, something like that. And then Paz Marquez Benitez short story Dead Stars passes on the subject of prohibited love. Okay, so it's more on the theme. Okay, and then of course, you should not forget to close your presentation with a prayer. Okay, so do we have any question left? If I have time later on, maybe I will be having the video presentation and I will be sending the link to our GC, okay? So that you may have something to follow. Okay, I think that's the end of the presentation. So do we have any questions at the moment? Oh, come on, you ask question. Okay, just an announcement to those who did not take yet their exams. Okay, if they are your friends, kapamilya, kapuso, whoever they are, please inform them. Okay, and to those who did not yet pass their outputs and requirements. Okay, so your midterm grade is waiving. And there are also blank slots that I can see in my record. So please, if you're one of them, please be responsible, okay? The school year is about to end. And if you want to be promoted to grade 12, so please do your part, okay? So do we have any question there? May question po tayo. Awanan. May question na.
Sir, paano po yung quarter challenge sa number 4?
Ibasa po kung ano yung sinasabi doon. Kasi hindi ko memorize. O, anong sabi sa quarter challenge number 4? Can someone will volunteer to read? Wala. Yoo-hoo. You have to do your learner's guide. Ay, walang gustong magbasa. Ano yun? Pakiulit nga po at hanapin ko na nga lang. Pakiulit po yung tanong. Hello? Sino kanina yung nagtanong? Paulit. Wala po akong naririnig.